Hello Fifth, it's the Poo Guru again. I'm continuing my series on who is the Poo Guru. We've made it through a few videos and I think we're going to be starting on house number 5 maybe, in that era. House 5 and 6 kind of go together. They're pretty close to each other. But there were different events that happened. So let's go ahead and get started with house number 5. We moved out of the cat lady's house, or got kicked out, or whatever, however that happened. And so we had to move. So Mom found another house. I don't know how or what, but it was like another apartment, a house made into a whole bunch of apartments. I think it was like 3, maybe 4 different apartments in this particular house. It was a 1-story dwelling. It stayed cluttered. We didn't have enough room for the junk we had in the house prior, so this one was even smaller. Ugh, just made me feel very uncomfortable and crowded. Claustrophobic almost, but I'm not claustrophobic. I crawl under houses for a living. I'm a plumber, for crying out loud. It had some brick steps up at the front, and I remember playing with those, hiding stuff in them, moving a brick, whatever. Just being a kid, and I'd play out in the yard and stuff. And at some point, I think towards the fall, or maybe it was, yeah, I think it was the fall of that year when we moved into that house. That's when I started doing yard work for people, and I was making about $10 an hour. Like a 10-year-old kid, that was quite a bit of money back then. 20-something years ago. So I'd rake yards, and that is when my next oldest brother helped me get my very first lawnmower. It was a piece of shit, but it ran. And I decided that I was going to use it to buy my own lawnmower. So I went to Western Auto and I got a Wizard, I guess it was. I think it was a brand or something, I don't remember. But it was like $250. Well, I saved up enough, I took Mom up there and asked them how much I'd have to do for a down payment on it and this and that and the other, and they had to hold it until I got it completely paid off. And probably about, I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it was a very short amount of time, and I had that thing paid off by myself pretty much. At the time, I had a best friend that he was helping me cut grass and stuff, and that old lawnmower that my brother had given me and helped me fix, it finally shit the bed and died. So my best friend, he borrowed his parents' lawnmower, and we, honored our commitments to cut these people's grass and make money, and I paid off that lawnmower. And whenever I got it out, oh man, I was happy. I bought something. It was mine. So, my brother, he was like, hell yeah, go, yeah, cool. Bought your own lawnmower. Awesome, awesome. So, he was real proud of me. And, I did my best to take care of it, maintain it, change the oil in it, sharpen the blade, etc., as best I could as a teenager with what limited knowledge I had and what limited tools I had. As for the rest of the money that I made cutting grass, which was very little actually, on the weekends, my best friend and I at the time, we would go rent actual video game cartridges for the, I think it was for the Super Nintendo, on the weekends. And if we rented it on a Saturday, I think it was, Friday or Saturday. We didn't have to have it back until like Monday, so we got it for the whole weekend. And it was only a few bucks. But back then, that was like a whole bunch of money. I enjoyed the hell out of playing video games, and he was a sports game kind of guy. I never did like those kind of games. I was more into the RPGs, the role-playing games, the single players, ones that really taxed your brain, that really made you think, that you had to solve problems inside the actual game to progress to another level. We had a lot of fun there, you know. Well, at that point, the middle brother that was still living with us, he was getting ready to graduate school. My first two brothers did not graduate from high school. The middle brother, he was the first one to graduate out of high school, and whenever he got out of high school, he went to join the military. Truth be told, that's probably the best thing that he could have done. And I'm proud of him for, you know, finishing high school. I'm proud of him for, you know, finishing his contract with the military. And as far as I know, he got out with an honorable discharge. We've never have really discussed it too much in depth, because he and I both went into the same branch of service at different times, but we still haven't talked about it a whole lot. I don't know why, but that's okay. It is what it is, and I'm not worried about it right now. You know, if he wants to talk about it, cool. If not, cool. After he went into the Navy, or round about that time, our oldest brother came back, and he had been involved with a religious group that I think they're just a complete bunch of fucking idiots. Which, like I said, I'm not going to talk about religion, but I'm just reiterating what I've said in the previous video. So he came back to live with us, and I assume at that time that his mental disorder was starting to show really bad, and I don't think Mom knew how to handle it. She didn't know how to take care of him. And my best friend and I at the time were, you know, just hanging out, being, you know, youngins. And we locked him out of the house. Well, we locked him out of the house, and he got mad. So I don't remember a whole lot of it, but we were holding the door. He was trying to get in, and from what really I do remember, he took his hands and he just pushed them through the glass, and he almost lost a finger. I think it was one of his pinkies. I think he almost lost a finger. It cut, I want to say it was his right arm, but hell, I don't know. It was a very traumatic experience for, you know, a 10, 11-year-old kid. And so I freaked out for about a split second. I was like, oh shit, what just happened? And then I opened the door, and then I was like, okay, dude, go get a towel or something other. And I mean, I think my brother was in shock. So my best friend was like, go and grab a towel. So I run out the door across the street to the neighbor's house and banging on her door, and she's an older lady, she can't move fast. I was like, hurry, call 911, hurry, I need an ambulance, hurry, hurry, hurry. And she's like, what's going on? Like, you stupid fucking bitch, call the fucking police or an ambulance or something. My brother's about to die, he's bleeding to death. I mean, I was very excited at that moment, very emotional. And so she's like, what's the number? Oh my God, give me the fucking phone, call 911. So we finally got him taken care of. The ambulance took him to the hospital. I don't know where the hell Mom was at. And somehow or another we got a hold of hers. And then it was a whole bunch of shit after that. We were very, very poor. Like I said, we were still on welfare. Mom wasn't working. There were a couple times I think my mom had to have the money that I was making for something or other, and it pissed me off something awful. I was like, I remember specifically one time myself that we didn't have anything that I wanted to eat in the house, and it was like a freaking can of spinach, and I don't know, whatever it was not appetizing at all. And so I was like, fuck it. I took like 10 bucks or whatever cash I had in my pocket, hopped on my damn bicycle and rode however many miles it was to the grocery store that we normally shopped at, and I bought a 1 pound pack of hamburger meat, and I bought one of those I don't know, I guess it's called Hamburger Helper or something like that. Well, something other like that. And I want to say there was something else I bought, and I brought that shit home and I cooked it and I ate it. I used my own fucking money. And that, I think that was one of the many turning points in my life where I was like, you know what, screw this, I ain't depending on no damn body else. But we hung around there, you know, and I was starting to become a teenager. I was starting to explore my own sexuality, and, you know, hey, that's when I started jerking off. I don't know exactly where I got the idea from, which by that time I had been exposed to pornography, videos, etc., magazines, you know, and it's not like adults were giving it to me. I had to sneak around to get it. And yeah, I'd seen my fair share of titties and vaginas and penises and all that other stuff on the pornography, and you know, my hormones were going berserk, and shit, I just about walked around all the time with a heart on. 13 years old, I started growing facial hair. It's crazy. It must be the Scottish genes in me or something, I don't know. Well, let's see, is there anything else I can think about that house? Oh yeah, one of my brothers, my next oldest brother, he had a friend that he introduced me to at that age, and you know, we tried to hang out and, you know, be friends, but it didn't quite work out. But he would come over one time, and it was like maybe 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, wanting to just hang out and play and shit. So I went out there and I hung out with him. He was a couple years older than I was, but one of the neighbors in that same apartment house, they had a couple smaller children that were probably 5 and 7 or something, I don't know, somewhere around that age, younger than I was. And I'd play with the kids, you know, I'd hang out with them, but they had a big old box of toys or something or other out there. And the older kid that was there, not my best friend, but my brother's friend at the time that we hung out a little bit, we just got crazy and wild. We threw that box, there was a box of toys sitting outside, we threw it all the way across the yard. It was just a mess. And I remember Mom coming outside, yelling and screaming and hollering and throwing shit at us. My mom was notorious for throwing anything that she could get her hands on. If she got mad at us, she would throw plates, she would throw cups full of water, full of whatever was in it. It didn't matter. Pots, pans, it didn't matter if it was breakable, just whatever she could get her hands on. That's just the way Mom was. She had violent temper tantrums. Violent adult temper tantrums where she would throw and yell and scream. She never did hit me or any of my brothers that I remember. So there actually wasn't that kind of abuse, I guess you'd say. But the verbal and emotional abuse was just fucking ridiculous. Anyway. So there was, in that house, there was the neighbor across the street, and then next door to him there was another house, a really big house. And the apartment house that we were living in, we got kicked out of it again. Probably because Mom couldn't pay the bills, because she would rather have Little Debbie snacks and God knows what else. Chicken. Yeah, lots and 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 lots of chicken. So now I had eaten so much of it that I am burnt out on chicken. I don't hardly eat chicken anymore. Which, the shit that they call chicken nowadays is a poor fucking excuse for chicken, but I still don't like chicken. So we got kicked out of that house, and we went and we moved across, kind of diagonal across the street. I got my own room, etc. Yada yada. And the next to oldest brother, the one that always wore the camouflage, he came back and helped us pay the rent on that house. He rented out the back half, which there was a door in the middle that could separate it. It was actually split up into two different apartments, so to speak. A bathroom and everything in the back half and whatnot. And I had a place to put all my lawnmower and all my yard tools and everything like that, which I was starting to accumulate. And I don't know how long we were there, but I had acquired some porn magazines, and I had them hid in the bathroom that I was using. Well, that bathroom had somehow or another got a leak. And so it had to become repaired. It had to come and be repaired. And I didn't know that there was somebody coming to repair it, and they found my stash of porn mags. I don't think I really got into much trouble over that. I don't remember. But it was embarrassing because of the way society looked at porn. It was way different than the way they look at it now. Not that children should be exposed to it per se, but they should be educated on the way the human body works, and not. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. Whatever. The backyard was a mess. It was way overgrown, and there was a big old. There was a cedar tree back there, and my brother was like, "Well, you know, we're gonna cut some of that cedar tree down." So it was like right smack dab in the middle, right in the middle of the property line. So we cut off tree, you know, we had somebody cut off like the bottom 8 feet worth of limbs so that we could get around it and stuff. And I was burning that stuff, and I mean, the neighbor got mad about it, but I think the neighbor got over it. I don't care. But you know, I don't want to say I'm a pyromaniac, but I love fire. I loved building fires, and I had a great time doing it. I don't remember why we moved out of that house. Don't care. Probably got kicked out just like all the rest of them because we couldn't pay our bills. And the fact that my brother was living there with us trying to help us, he was doing all he could. I appreciate his efforts to I mean, I appreciate the shit out of his efforts. The one that wore the camouflage, I think he is the one that has looked out for me and taken care of me the most my entire life. I'm kind of glad he did. Really, I am. So, in between those two houses, my mother had made a new friend, a new female adult friend. And I don't know where she met her or how she met her or anything like that, but her friend was married and they had 2 children. Now, the lady's husband had been married previously, and here's where it gets weird. From what I understand, I am of some sort of Scottish descent, probably on my father's side more than anything. But the lady that was my friend, her husband, in his first marriage, he had 2 children, a boy and a girl. Well, his first wife, she was from Scotland, and they lived in Scotland. Craziest damn thing, I know, right? Well, I dated his daughter for a little while, and you know, I was good to her, best I could be, and she thought she was broken because of some stuff that had happened to her past, you know, and she didn't want me to be with her because of that, and it pissed me off and broke my heart something awful, but I got over it. Let's see. Yeah, I remember going with my mom and her friend and their 2 little girls, or my mom's friends' 2 little girls and the other girl from Scotland. We all went to a yard sale one time and just hanging out, you know. I had a good old time. I mean, I think we made out in the car or something or other, but whatever. It was summertime, it was hot, and we were just happy to be near each other, you know, I guess. Whatever. Yeah. She'd come over to America to live, and things got weird after that. Can't think of anything else right off the top of my head. So, I'm going to end this video, and we'll pick up on another dwelling whenever I come back. Peace out.